Welcome, everybody. This is the Millionaire Mindset Training for Network Marketing. And really a little bit more than that. It's 82,000 a month, about 20,000 a week to create $1 million of annual income. And that is what this particular training is going to be about. It's going to be about an 8-week training. And this is actually, last week was just setting the stages. This is actually lesson 1 today of and we're going to cover 2 subjects. We'll always cover 2 subjects. One will be the subject of the day. So today, that subject is making people money. Like, that's our job as leaders, not to make our paychecks. You're only going to be concerned about your own paycheck until you can survive. You're making enough money to believe if you're going full time at this, you can pay your bills now with this income. But once you achieve that level of income, if you want to get to the $100,000 a month income, it's not about you anymore. You got to understand your leaders' businesses. You got to understand their legs. You got to understand their leaders. You got to understand how to stabilize them. And that's the subject for today: stabilization and making money, not in your business, in your leaders' businesses, on every leg to include your power legs. And then we will always cover the second thing, and that is ourselves, because you've always got to be in a growth pattern. And you've always got to be growing your mind, and you've got to be growing your positive energy field, because those are the 2 things that are greatly needed. And you've also got to be growing your skill sets to deal with people, because in our industries, in any industry, you've got to have people skills. But in our industry, it's elevated to another level, because one day you're dealing with somebody totally skeptical that hates network marketing. The next day you're dealing with somebody that's trying to go from 20 to 30,000 a month. The next day you're showing somebody in a trailer. The next day you're showing somebody on the 41st floor of the Empire State Building. Like, you never know who you're sitting down with, and you're never going to get somebody in your business that you are unable to posture with, and they don't feel like you can take them somewhere. So you'll see this, and like, these are some of the things I'm going to say out loud that we all know, that I don't want to offend people, so new people would not want to hear this, but I know groups, like when I'm working with leaders, like the group's a reflection of their skill set and their energy and their ability to lead. That's the reason some groups don't ever really grow, because the leader hasn't grown of the group. Can a person get lucky and hit a leader that goes and does it without them? Yes, but that's pure luck. It's like winning a lottery ticket. And we're not going to be talking about lottery tickets today. We're going to be talking about skill sets to $100,000 a month income and more. Okay, so the first thing you've got to do for yourself is you've got to create in your own mind vision. And again, I will say a lot of things that if you take out of context, it will sound awful. So you've got to keep this in context. But the visionaries are the ones that get rich, not the smart people. The smart people work for the visionaries, and they make the visionaries rich. So what I'm going to be working on with all of you is your vision, but more importantly, your ability to create vision for other people. That's where the bridge breaks a lot of times, especially, and again, do not take me out of context, please. But the analytical people struggle the most with this, because they're information heavy. And information heavy does not create energy, doesn't cast vision. And for the visionaries, it actually bogs their brain down, because they're caught up in all the weeds. So anybody that works for me knows I know as much about these products as anybody. I did not learn a single thing about these products when I got my master's in nutrition. Nothing, zero. It is acquired information, because I study it, I read it, I AI it, I listen to the videos 100 times. And I do it repeatedly, over and over and over and over. I hear all the people speak. I take notes in every conference I'm at. And then I practice it myself, repeating what they said, and then double checking that everything that was said was accurate. So like, as a leader, you've got to do the same thing, but you can't get caught in that, meaning that when I'm training on products, that's a training. But when I'm presenting to a new person, it's skinny drops and body balancing drops. And it's really simple, and put them underneath your tongue 3 times a day. So the vision is way more important than the information to get to the big money. And also, visionaries will hire out all the stuff that they suck at. Don't put me in any political thing. Like, I'm not here to talk about any of that stuff, but like, I freaking love successful people. I don't care if it's Nick Saban at Alabama. I'm an Ole Miss fan. He just did it better than everybody else. LeBron James, I know he has got, like, some people like him, some people don't. he's great. Like he's unbelievable at what he does. In business, Elon Musk is running like 5 companies. Elon Musk runs no companies. Elon had the vision of all the companies, and he probably has in his head most of the really important things. But the dude has more smart engineers hired than any other company on planet Earth. That's the reason he's able to do Doge, and he's able to do Tesla, and he's able to do Starlink, and he's able to do X and now X payment systems. And I saw that X just launched a new DM thing today called X Chats. So like that's not Elon. Elon's the visionary, and then all the smart people do that. So the IPA call. I'll give you an example. I was the visionary of the IPA call. However, I am not the creator of it. It was all the smart people that knew how to do Facebook, that knew how to upsells, that knew how to do lives, that knew how to convert, that knew how to do drop talks, and then the masterminding of everybody's. Like, I know Tammy Maltby, I missed her because I was flying the other morning, but she's so freaking good at like communicating what she does to create her success. So like, you just got to have, like, you're a visionary. And then the second you're a visionary, then you got to start bringing very talented people in to that arena. And that's how you elevate it. So I will tell you what cast my vision with network marketing. And some of you know them. Most of the Canada leaders that are here all know him because that's how we all met. But Paul Orbison was the owner of the only other company I've been a part of. And he was the most successful network marketer, I think, maybe ever, for sure, that I've ever met in person. He made $1 million a month for an extended period of time. I've never done that, so I can't teach you that just yet, but he could. And one of the things he said early on, he did not say it to me as an individual. He said it in a room. He cast the vision, and then my brain executed the vision. Others just heard it and let it go in one ear and out the other. But he said, in the time frame we're in now, that if you will just focus and go do the work and not get distracted, one day they're going to be backing money trucks up to your house and unloading pallets of money like that. And I'm a broke football coach that has just gone full time at this point. And so like, all I have is vision and faith. There's nothing else. And that's where it all begins. Without the faith that you can execute the vision, the smart people are going to come. Like all of the things you need to execute it will show up in life if you get out there and do the daily things every day. But from that point forward, 20 years ago, I've always visualized this truck backing up to our house and unload money. And it began to be real to me because when I first was going full-time as a high school football coach with Ashley home with 4 children, we were very, very broke. And getting a $20 bill out of the ATM machine was questionable, depending on the day I put the ATM card in there. And I will never forget that I had been full-time for maybe 6 months. So I'm a year plus in, maybe a year and a half into the company. And I land at an airport and I'm out of cash, and I go put my ATM card in, and it was payday. And when I put it in, my balance that day was like $32,000. I'd gotten paid that morning, or we had gotten paid that morning. And like the vision wasn't the money truck yet, but the vision of the money truck was starting to become a reality based upon doing the work every day. So that being said, the next step is the goal isn't money. It's just one thing that I've learned. We've had the 18,000 square foot house. We've had the 8-seater airplane. We've had the private pilot, the full-time teacher in the house helping, the full-time housekeeper every day. All that stuff is all wonderful for anybody that wants it. I will never downgrade it at all, but none of that was really where the happiness came from. The happiness is time freedom. And one thing I discovered along the way is there's no dollar amount that creates financial independence, because that is absolutely different for every human being out here. Some people are the most happy living off the grid with no electricity and peeing in the woods. Others want a 10,000 square foot house that is manicured to the T with crazy expensive furniture in it. And both are perfectly right in their own area. So what financial independence is waking up every day and doing what you want to instead of what you have to, meaning you are not chasing dollars for a living. Now, are we chasing creating a bigger income here? Yes, we are. But don't get that construed with having to go to work to pay your house note next month. Like, that's what people do their whole freaking life with a vacation. or two a year, some every other year, some maybe every decade, and they never really get to enjoy it along the way. So that being said, this is going to help cast a little bit better vision. Then we're going to get more into the subject matter, and I'm going to bring a couple people in to talk. But this was a picture that we took in Tahiti last year. We were kind of up on a mountain, and the rainbow, literally, if you've ever heard that, there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, like we were literally looking where the rainbow was touching the ground there. And we actually stayed in Tahiti for a month. We stayed on a private island for almost 3 weeks. There was only one other person there the person that lived on the island, and nobody else. You only got there by boat. I think I've got a picture of it here in just a second. But so no matter how hard you see or perceive that we work or are busy, just know there's a real lifestyle that circulates around that. So this is me sitting with, I think, the number one money earner in the world. But for sure, at this particular time we took the picture, this lady was making over $2 million a year. She is from mainland China, and she maybe 12 optimized legs. I can't remember exactly, but this girl had no experience, and she created a movement. And what her movement is taking Chinese women that generally don't wear makeup or have ever had their own money, and making them beautiful and creating income in their lives. And although she has this little sweet smile, she is a drill sergeant. And with her women, if they don't dress up, look pretty, do their hair, put their makeup on, and exhibit what we're trying to project, she doesn't let them come to their meetings. So she has this vision of changing women's lives, but the women that joined the movement, that don't become a part of the movement, I don't know if we can do that here in the United States, but in China, I guess you can be a little bit more direct. She removes them from the movement. And then that's Ashley with, at the time, this young lady from Italy was the number 2 power anchor in the world, I think, at the time of the picture. But the same exact thing. She's built her whole business on Instagram and selling lifestyle and product. And then these are all of our leaders sitting there. And I just want to just get a snippet from you guys real quick about the time freedom. So the greatest thing about this industry and what you're going to do as a leader is you're going to meet people where they are today, but then you're going to be a piece of them getting started. And then the more money they make, the less a part of it you are, meaning that you're only a huge influence in their life when they're making no money. And as paycheck continues to grow, your influence is less and less and less, because they're now becoming the influential one, which is a real skill set to learn, that you're not over talking or overdoing any of your leaders. So in this picture there on the right, I met all 3 of those the day they joined the business. And I met Susan Frank when she had her first baby and didn't want to go back to the hospital and quit her job. And I met her the night Josh was pissed off she had joined network marketing because she didn't talk to people at church. I met Kim Gray when she was in a lift chair and left the house for 2 years and told me she would never do our business under any circumstance. And I met recently at a restaurant about 6 months in, after Ashley Antley and I had been working for 6 months to get him to stop and look. He did not know that Ashley had already made like $20,000-$30,000 her first, I guess it was 90 days in, because it's about what she made in 90 days on her Venmo account. But any of you 3 want to talk just for a second about like the vision you had in the early days, and then the reality now of traveling the world and experiencing this time freedom? And we'll just go in order as I see y'all. So Reese and Ashley, y'all want to go first?
Sir, Ashley, you there?
I'm here. Hey.
All right, I'll let you go.
So when I first started, I was just trying to sell skinny drops. I had no clue about the business or about any of this, but I quickly saw that this could be turned into something great. And so once I got him on board, and he's the business guy, right? He's the brain. And once he saw it and he was like, okay, this is great. Like, this is our ship. Like, this can actually work. Then I just had like extra confidence, and I was like, okay, he's on board. We've got this. Let's go. So now our whole vision together has changed. Like, we're just building this incredible team, this huge business. I think we have 25 countries. And so it started from just trying the product, loving the product, to this whole vision and this whole business that's transforming our entire family.
Yeah, and just to add to that real quick, as far as Ashley was really truly a visionary when this started, because she saw when she started making money, and then she could see what this really could be. Because she came back to me and was like, this is our ship. If you can just get on board, this is our ship. And I didn't, but then I came on board and then we started really changing. But the time freedom side of it for us has been huge because we want to travel. That's what we like to do. We like to travel. We want to be able to take our kids wherever, you know, and getting to that point where now that like I know right now if something was to happen at my normal job that I'm sitting at right now, if something was, we're good. Our house payment's taken care of. Everything's there. I mean, we can still, and we, you know, because of what we built and what Partner Co has provided for us. But, you know, anyways, but the time freedom is what we want. That's what we want. We, you know, I don't want to work till I'm 90 years old. So I want to be able to travel when I want to travel.
Okay, so I'm going to be using these three people to help you understand how my brain thinks, because most people are only ever studying their own business, and this is why they never get to the big money. Because if you don't make your leaders money and stabilize their business, they'll never be out here as real leaders. So, like, I know more about what needs to go on in Reese and Ashley's business than they do. Now, Reese is hyper smart. He's one of the quickest learners I've ever had about understanding all the dynamics. The only thing Reese has not got down yet is like the in-person stuff of driving new growth. Like new growth doesn't just happen. Everybody thinks that like such and such is they're getting lucky. No, bullshit. There is no luck involved in network marketing for 99.99% of the people. It is somebody making it happen. So, like, I'm going to go through this extensively at the end in the last segment of this today with the real training, but I'm going to be explaining of what I know about Reese and Ashley's business and where my mind is and where I'm always directing Reese and Ashley to be doing to stabilize them and get them out here full time. Okay, Kim Gray, I see you up next.
Well, when I first started, I didn't even know what I was doing. I just followed your lead. I was coachable. Whatever you told me to do, I did it. And till it has completely changed my life. Not only my health, but financial. Me and my husband has never, ever been on an airplane, but now we're able to travel and go places with Partner Co. And then even if we don't go with Partner Co., we have the time freedom that we can do whatever we want to. And, you know, we're very thankful and blessed. But I can tell you this has really changed our lives, and it's beginning to change our daughters' lives because we're able to help them. And when you have never done that before, that is a big, big obstacle to be able to help your children. And this is just, it's awesome. And I just want, what my desire is for my team that I work with daily to have this same experience.
So Kim now, this is a lady that was on disability her whole life. She now optimizes 3 legs every week, and her matching check is exploding. So, like, she's a legit $8,000 consistent weekly earner here, 8/16/24/32. So she's already now at what I call most people's peak in the industry. It'll be up to her. She may not want to go to 100,000 a month. But like, she's built a residual income into her life that is, her family's life is now forever freaking changed. And and every step is different in your helping people. So in the early days, Kim had no experience. She was not a presenter. Kim is actually really smart. She hides it well, but she's hyper smart. But she wasn't necessarily a communicator of her knowledge in her head from the front of the room. So what I recognized with Kim early on was desire for better, always showing up, always positive, except in her weight loss journey. She got a little negative there a few times, but she conquered it. And always, like, when we would set things up, when I told her what we needed to do, she never bucked it. Like most people buck, like they'll call me for advice and I'll tell them what they need to do, and then they'll tell me all the reasons they can't do it that way. So I'm like, well, why the hell did you call me? Because I didn't call you. And I'm sorry I don't mean to cuss, but it just helps me get the point across on some things like that. So like, I'm not in the business of trying to give people information that don't want it, but like, she did everything perfect. So when she was doing everything perfect, that gave me the green light to give her a ton of time. Plus she was in a pay line at the time. So remember, she started in a brand new pay line with me. And that leg now does probably 200,000 volume weekly a couple of years later, weekly. And like I always say, you can do that on a leg about every year. And I'm going to go through that in just a second, help you really understand like the timing of this into the big money, because you can't do it quickly. Because if you do it quickly, you'll mess it all up. You got to be very methodical in your build here. Okay, Susan Frank. Again, everybody knows Susan Frank as the $1 Million Girl. I always tell, like at the risk of upsetting other people, I always say she's the best in the business that I know of. And the reason for it is her consistently disciplined time here and her 1000% positive attitude, no matter what. A lot of people think they're positive and they're not. Susan is positive, except with me. And I'm the one person she can be negative with when she has problems. So, but everybody else, she is the greatest person on planet Earth. So Susan, would you mind sharing?
Absolutely. I found this. I was praying for something. The key thing that a lot of leaders need to know is you're being an example to your kids. Like my dad did this industry, and I was able to get a car at 16, the prom dress I wanted, and we went from Domino's once a month being a special treat to eating at the fanciest restaurant that was 30 miles from our house. So I knew that this made money. So you are showing your kids this can make money. So when the opportunity found me and I was praying for something, I was open to it. My husband did not have that experience in his life. He was really negative. He told me I joined a scam. I wasn't going to make anything. I didn't talk to people at church. And he honestly left me at a family reunion and didn't even come back to pick me up. I had to bum a ride home. He was so mad that I was doing this. So don't let people that if I wouldn't have had my dad that showed me, hey, this can make money and I'm going to go improve people's life, just like I saw my dad's and our family's life be improved. I'm going to help kids have opportunity, and just keeping that mindset, like you can truly change people's world. And that's what we have our hands on. And it's just so much fun as you get it going. And if people don't want it, it's fine. Just get out the way. Don't get tripped up on those people. You just really got to focus on people that want better and lock arms with them and go. And if they have all the excuses in the world, they're going to have an excuse of a life. That's not who you're looking for. So really lock into people that want answers and have vision. And I truly always have had vision. Like I found a house on the golf course. Even before I found this industry, my husband's like, we can't afford it. No, we can't live there. Well, I bought it. So I've always had a vision and went after it. And if you can do that, like you'll become unstoppable. And that's why I love that word, like be unstoppable. Like life is going to get in your way. You might get sick. I've been through cancer on this journey. I've been in the industry 17 years. And guess what? Every Friday I got a paycheck for years without even working. Like no job's going to do that. So don't let anybody buck you or your people on what we have isn't the greatest thing in the whole world, because it is. And thanks, Todd, for leading us and putting this together.
And then, so I wanted to bring Susan in because all three of the people on this picture, because you got to recognize what your leaders are. You got to recognize their growth. And this is like the nitty gritty of how to get to the big money, because like every leader's different. And if you're going to get to the big money, you got to be different with every leader. Like you cannot be stoic in your way when you're dealing with real energetic leaders, because not that you won't ever have conflict. I've had conflict with all three of these people. And I'm sure they've had a ton more conflict with me. But overall, I adapt, meaning I'll give you a great example. Susan Frank and Kim Gray do things very, very differently. And if I took Susan Frank's way of doing things into Kim Gray's meeting, it would mess her groups completely up. And then vice versa, if I took Kim Gray's way of doing things into Susan Frank's meetings, it would mess her up. So I'm not rigid. I'm adaptable to who I'm working with, as long as they're moving the right direction in a very good methodical way. I'm not going to come make them like be this exact way. But the reason I was going to mention Susan, these three together, because all three of these leaders, when they joined me, had zero experience. And Ken Bailey and I did every meeting for Susan Frank for months. And then I did every meeting for Kim Gray for years. We would travel together to Huntsville, Alabama, to different places where she had her groups growing. I knew all of her legs. I knew every leader in each leg. I knew what I had to do to get those legs stabilized for Kim, where she could have a consistent income. And like I had it all memorized, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But over time, they began to present, and then I began to recognize their specialty talents. So Susan and Kim both are expert at relatability with the audience. Everybody loves them, and they're also experts at closing. So what I was for them after they got going good, it was I was the presenter, or Kim Bailey was the presenter also for Susan Frank. And then they started integrating into the presentation where their skill sets. They would open with relatability, and then they would come in and close with 30 packs, or in Kim Gray's case, 888 packs with the Renew, Moa, and Skinny Drops. However they want to close, it doesn't make me any difference as long as we're growing. And then with like Reese and Ashley Antley, Reese did not have the ability to do the in-person meetings like Susan and Kim do. So Reese and I, and this is how I know who to work with. Like I don't pick people, people pick themselves with me. Reese began to show up on every Zoom that I did, like everyone. He literally has not missed but maybe 3 IPA calls in 2 years, and he has a full-time job. He takes his lunch break at 10 a.m. Eastern time so he can have that hour to be on the, and he does it every day. He has 5 kids. His house burnt down. His house got blown away in a Cat 5 hurricane. They have 5 kids. Some of them have things going on they have to deal with. Like he has every moving part that everybody else does. Susan Franks has 4 kids. Kim Gray has a disability. It's a real disability. I didn't even realize how bad it was until I started traveling with her and I saw all the things she actually couldn't do. I just blew me away how she was doing it all. So like the sky did not part for these people. They cast a vision for their future. And then somehow they develop this discipline daily, and anybody can do it daily for a day or two. Some can do it for a month or two. Some can even do it for a year. But it's like so few can just actually do it till they win. They get distracted, whatever it is. It's a million things. I know everybody's excuses better than they do. If you're in this industry, you know every excuse people have for not working. But I also know the ones that make the big money have the same things going on in their life. So they're not really excuses. They're just undisciplined ability to stay consistent in time. If it's your goal, like I'm going to remind everybody, it doesn't have to be your goal. That's the reason I want to keep this call very protected, because I don't want to say things to people that aren't committed like that, because like we need everybody. Paul Oberson taught me something very important early on. When I first went full time, my checks actually went backwards. I quit my job at the end of the school year, which meant it was summertime. And in our industry, a lot of times, especially July and December generally are down months because people are distracted. Those 2 months more than any other time of the year, they're going on vacations. They've got Christmas. They're spending money in other places. Like weight loss is not necessarily the goal at July 4th. Eating and drinking is, and at Christmas time, eating and being with family is. So I actually quit my job at the perfectly wrong time. And I remember driving to Kentucky and asking him, could I sit in his office and ask him some questions? And he said to me that day, when I told him that my leaders were flaky and they were quitting on me, and I was like, I'm about to starve it. Like my business sucks. What am I doing wrong? And he said, well, the first thing you're doing wrong is thinking everybody's going to want to do this business because you quit your job and went full time. He said, you got to get over that. He said, when I was making $1 million a month, I could point to about a dozen or so people that was creating the whole thing. He said, 90+% of the people here are not here to make big money. Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. They're here for a little extra income, maybe some free vacations, maybe being around positive people. I would say 30-40% of our companies in the company just for the association, like friends and family and culture and all the things that so many people are lonely in the world without right now because they don't have that in their jobs or whatever it is that they do. So like as leaders here that want to get to the big money, like you've got to cast your vision and you got to cast vision for other people. But then you just have to slowly identify the ones that really want to do it. So those are some ones that wanted to do it. I'm going to move one step forward, and that is Chris and Joni. Chris and Joni entered our business on a totally different prefaces. Chris and Joni, we've known each other for probably 2 decades from a distance. We haven't talked a whole lot in 15 years, but just a mutual respect for each other. I know what they've done in the industry. The good news, people ask me all the time how they made so much money so fast. And I said, because they were humble and coachable. They did not bring all their baggage with them like most network marketers do. And they humbled themselves into the system we were doing and then applied all the skill sets and the direct approach that they always have known in network marketing. And that's what's exploded their freaking business. So Chris and Joni do not need to talk to me daily. They do not need me for Zooms 99.99% of the time. They don't need me for any of that. my job with them is a totally different role than it was for the other three. Now, the other three are now Chris and Joni. They don't need me for anything either, except for whatever periodically. But Chris and Joni, would y'all mind talking a little bit about how like coming into this and starting fresh and like submitting to a different way of doing things, and then maybe just about the growth of your team?
Sure. I'm outside. Is it windy here? Can you hear me okay?
We got you loud and clear.
Okay, if it gets too windy, let me know. I'll hop in with Chris. He went and hopped in the car just in case the audio wasn't great. So Chris, did you want to go first or did you want me to?
Go ahead, baby.
It's funny because I question everything I do every step of the way, you know, because we're new at this. We're a year into it. And yeah, from day one, I just wanted to learn everything I could learn from the experts, and Reese and Ashley were the experts, and Todd. And they actually taught me everything I know about Partner Co. and about the system of growth. So I definitely didn't create anything myself. And I was very fortunate that we had some strong leaders come on the team right away. Christy, Risha, Bob came along later, and then they were able to develop some leaders quickly under them as well. But I really attribute all that to the system of growth, and it's all we talked about. And I think that's how we attracted the right people that were looking for a system, people that were looking for a way to earn a significant income. And I'm so glad to hear you say those words, Todd, about how 99.9% of people aren't looking for a full-time income. And so what we preach in our business presentations and our trainings is how easy it is to go make $2,000 a month, which is a lot of money for most people. It would just change their life. The statistic always was, and I'm sure it's the same, that an extra $500 would be the game changer in most families' lives. It would literally make the difference between going bankrupt or not for those that are in a financial situation. And so $2,000 is a big deal. And the fact that we have the perfect compensation plan that's literally designed to make people $2,000 minimum their first month. I always say $2,000. There's so much more to be earned here, which I love about this comp plan. So like, I guess I just instill vision in people that they can go make the minimum of $2,000 a month if they're following our system of growth, if they're consistent with their posts, if they have a good social media following, they should be able to do that. And if they don't, there's ways to work on that. And then of course that there's the long-term money, the six-figure income for those that are wanting that. And you're absolutely right, Todd, that not everybody wants to earn that, but you've got to drill down and find those people. So Chris and I'm just so thankful for you, Todd, and for Reese and Ashley and everyone that does the IPA calls, because I don't think Chris and I could have done what we did without you. Absolutely not. We always said to each other, I just want to be going back to like FHTM and Excel days, I just want to be the regional director in somebody else's downline where they do all the work and I get all the benefit. You know what I mean? Because we were always the leaders doing everything and everything fell on our shoulders. And that's what I love about this Better Together business and everybody helping everybody, because all we did was plug into what was already available to us. There were Zooms going on weekly. There was morning IPA calls. There was a system of growth. And so Chris is amazing at recruiting and talking to people. I can't write a text message to save my life. It would literally take me an hour to write a text message, and I ask Chris 10 times, how does this sound? so I'm lucky that I've got him to do a lot of the talking for me and recruiting people, but I'm more of a trainer, and so we get the people on board, get them to look at it, show the vision of how they can make a minimum of 2,000 and way more and beyond. And then it's just about training, building, and spending as much time with these people as we possibly can until they're capable of going out and doing it on their own. And then some people just naturally ask for more of our time. And those people are the ones we work with, and they become the big leaders. And so we'll just keep recruiting, training, coaching, mentoring. And we did a lot of one-on-one stuff with people, working closely with people to help them become leaders. And then we had others that did it all on their own. Like Christy, I'm amazed with what you've done. Risha as well, you're doing your own meetings. Bob now too, like within a month working with Bob, maybe it was 2 weeks, I think. I remember I spent every waking minute with him, showing everybody for him. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's gone, doing it all by himself, and he doesn't need me anymore. And that's what a leader does. And that's what you're looking for, right? So Chris, I don't know if you want to add to that, and I don't know if that's what you're looking for, Todd, but thank you. Chris, you going to add to that?
Yeah, we had to have a different mindset coming to this. We had to, because if you would have asked me in the beginning, if I knew how to do this business, I could tell you how I did all the other things that I knew how to do. But coming here, we didn't have anybody. We didn't have a team. We weren't actively building anything at that time. But we were looking. We knew we wanted to get back in the game, not necessarily the things that we had done before, but something new, something fresh. I guess the best way they call it now is partnership marketing. We just didn't know what it looked like, so we figured we'd just sell boxes, like they said. We'll do the posts like they said. We'll do everything they say, and then see if we could develop a business from that. And that's just exactly what happened. The same way I saw 5 people post the same post. It wasn't that I saw 5 people posting. It's 5 people posting the same post, which means to a business person, that means system. That means, wow, this is a business. This is something that I can participate in. And so that's why I chose to talk to Todd about this business. And what's been, I think, the difference for us since we started is that we don't give business presentations, because we're not asking people really to look at a business. We're asking people to look at a system and a product. And so when we give a business presentation, people have already seen the product videos. They've already seen all the testimonials. When I give a business presentation for somebody, it's literally an onboarding. I take them through the system of growth, because a business person is going to see that the system is what creates the income. The product speaks for itself. The business creates the income. And then the compensation plan, all we got to do is highlight the parts that are important, the parts that separate us from everybody else in the industry, because the highlights of this compensation plan literally put everything else to shame. It's so exciting when you understand how this pays out that nothing else even compares. And so you realize what you've got in your hands, and you realize that maybe we don't have forever. Maybe 50 to 100 years sounds amazing, and I believe it. And when I think about it, it soothes my soul, because there's so many things that we've worked in the past. But I feel like in my life, I'm 46 years old. I don't feel like I've got forever to build this. I feel like I've got a runway of 3 to 5 years, and that's when I need to pour it all on. I got to give it everything that I've got. Maybe I won't have that kind of energy in 5 years. So I want it done now. And so I think when you bring that kind of intensity to it, maybe it's attractive. Maybe it scares some people away. I don't know. But I think maybe the right people will be attracted to it. And I think that's maybe what you end up with on a call like this.
Okay, so I'm going to give you now what's inside. And again, I never, like, anything I say, please keep in context. Don't ever think I'm saying it in any type of arrogant way or anything. I'm trying to get everybody an understanding of what goes on in my brain. And my brain has made in this industry $250,000 a month. And
You muted out, Ty, or dropped off one.
okay, sorry about that. It cut me off for some reason. I've watched people in the industry that were way more talented, and they all plateau in that 20 to 30,000 range. So I'm going to tell you what's in my head. So let's go look at these people that we just identified, because this is going to be the actual training segment at the end today. But every one of these leaders, Susan Frank, Kim Gray, Reese and Ashley Antley, Joni and Chris Budd, like, they're not power legs. They're 100,000 plus weekly legs, like stupid big legs. And I'm as engaged at the bottom of their business that I am with a brand new person on a pay line all the freaking time. So like, I identify immediately people's strengths and weaknesses. So the strength of Chris and Joni is they're, like, about the 10th time I got on a Zoom with them back early on when they first started, I realized they were better at selling partner code than I was. They had so much experience in other companies. Chris was breaking down how much more the 3, 4, 5 multi-line paid out than a straight binary paid out with his people from that world. I was like, and he knew it too. Like, he quickly realized he didn't need me anymore, and he quit calling for my help on those kind of things. And so, like, I've never called him. I don't need to be there. Like, I'm not going to add any value on that. But then I also identified their weaknesses, and their weaknesses is they live in Costa Rica with 2 kids, and it's hard to get out of there. And in this business, if you don't build some personal relationships with new growth, like, it's going to come, like, somewhere it's going to stop growing. And when it stops growing, it's going to start retracting. So what Ashley and I did, Ashley went initially with their first group, Christy and Mary, and then we both went to Kelowna, and then I just went back up. So what I'm doing is always meeting the next leader. So first it was Christy and Mary on one leg. Then it was Bob, and then Bob introduced me to Popo. And, oh, Popo, you're here. Then immediately I flew Popo to Puerto Rico, spent 3 days with him there, and then got all this group from England to the Destin event, built relationships with those leaders. So I was digging in at the very bottom of the pile. That if somebody quits, it doesn't matter to me, because I've already built relationships with leaders all the way down. And then the second trip up, we meet Carmen, and then now Carmen's introduced us to Betty Ann and to Shorty and to other leaders that are up and coming. So you're just constantly in that bottom of the pile. And I'm going to talk at the end of this about the time frame you put there. But the second you pull out and only focus on your new leg, you chase your tail the rest of your life, because as you're getting a new leg going and not supporting the other, it's going to be retracting. So Susan Frank, same thing. She has 4 babies. Like, she sure the heck don't need to be on no presentation. She sells 30 packs better than I do. Her and Kim Gray both are mad at me all the time because they're better closers than I am. They don't like me going and doing their presentations by myself. So where does Kim Gray need me? I mean, where does Susan Frank need me? She needs to be at the bottom of her strong legs, where she may not have enough time to go help some of those leaders. So that's the reason I was just in St. Louis with Susan Cameron and some of those new leaders. And I was just in Orlando for Susan Cameron and some of those leaders, always at the bottom of the pile, creating stabilization and new growth, because without that, you don't get to the big money. Like I said, it's almost every great, not almost, every great leader I've ever had plateaued at $30,000 a month. That's the reason I wanted to start this call. It's the whole conversation I had with Brent. I was like, Brent, why can people not get to the big money? Like I don't understand. It's not talent. It's execution. Okay. So now let's move into the second segment, and we're going to be an hour and 15 minutes today. It will be recorded. You don't have to stay the whole time, but I need to spend 10 minutes on you. I just want to make sure that everybody understands what you're dealing with. Everybody here, surely to goodness, was on the call this morning. If you're not, go to the Partner Co. Facebook page and listen to the owners. Like, this is a runway and a company in our industry that comes around once in a lifetime. I call it the 5-day miracle. I'm a Christian. God's favor has landed on this company. It's an impossibility. These 2 guys own it. I mean, I probably should be broke coaching high school football based upon where my company was when these guys bought it. So like, it's just unbelievable. And anytime I see God's hand involved like that, that's the most important thing to me. They've hired stupid, smart people around the world. Y'all know that. We're in 58 freaking countries with license, guys. Like, you're never not going to have room to grow. Like, we haven't even started. And you don't have to know a single person in a single one of those countries. Just ask recently. You're going to have friends around the world. If you'll just get it all, my favorite statement is, it all starts with one. Get one and help them get one. And everything else will take care of itself over time. You're in the middle of all of these mega trends. I mean, look at our own country. Like, we have the Kennedy guy now redoing the whole way we think on medication, compared to like just maybe actually eating correctly and putting the right things in our body and not blaming everything on genetics. Maybe our bad choices have a role in it. Like, everything is trending our direction. It's the first time in network marketing history that I think all of the government agencies are really pro our industry right now. Usually they're against our industry. They don't like us making money, and they surely don't like us making people healthy. They want to, they just don't. It is what it is. I don't care about your political affiliations. I'm just telling you, that's the way it has been the 20 years I've been in the industry. We actually have real wind behind our back. And I don't like, can something happen tomorrow? Yes, I'm always conscious of every possible thing. But I have less anxiety and less stress right now than I've had in 24 years in this industry of I don't see any red flags. And that's the only red flag I have. Like, what am I missing? Because everything looks so perfect right now. The products are freaking unbelievable. We know that. And then I tell people this all the time. I don't hop around. People can make money doing anything. People ask me, like, I had some people text me this morning about somebody talking bad about a company. I could freaking care less. There's 2,000 companies started every 3 days. Most of them have good products. Some of them have good pay plans. Most of them, anybody could go to and make money. Things change. They change in every industry. There's good and bad in everything. Like, it's a completely irrelevant fact. I never go in and tell somebody what's wrong with their company. I tell them what we have, and they can figure that out themselves if we're better or not. And but I'm not interested in making money in network marketing. I'll go make money somewhere else. I'm interested in passionately changing people's lives and building real time freedom into their life. And you can only do that effectively with the right company. And the right company is really hard to find. That's the reason I haven't been doing this. Like, what I'm doing today, I haven't been doing in a decade. Ashley and I took a decade of life off in our 40s to enjoy life, because I didn't feel like I didn't have this passion. I didn't believe all the things I'm telling you I believe now with Partner Co. So now then, the actual piece of the puzzle this last 20 minutes is, and we'll spend 10 minutes on each. Number one, like you have to grow here. You know, your paychecks are going to find your ceiling. And I'm speaking to myself, like I've not made more than $250,000, and my mentor made $1 million. So I evidently have a ceiling that he didn't have. He was better than I was. So in my head, I think back on what he said, how he said it, how he dealt with people, how he memorized everybody's name perfectly, how, he paid for people. Like I evaluate every single thing. So that's what you want to do. Don't, like, the Achilles heel of our industry is, especially in the social media world, just because people look good on social media does not mean they're making a freaking dime here. As a matter of fact, a guy came into our company, it started posting something about some machine or something, and Susan Cameron, everybody on planet Earth are calling me, hey, what's the machine? Do I need to do it? I was like, why the heck would you want to do that? You're ahead of them in the power rankings. Like, what you're doing is way better than what they're doing, and they're not even a part of our company anymore. I think they're on their third company since they left us. So like, you've got to be careful who you study and who you take advice from. Find the successful ones, the ones that are elevating, the ones that are moving to higher and higher levels. And they're not hard to identify. Social media will kind of lie to you on that. But you have to become a better version of you daily. This never stops. And it begins with this. You've got to protect your mind and your energy. So the first thing you do to protect your mind, and Ashley will tell you that for the most part, our TV hasn't been on in our house in a decade. And she'll also tell you that I've never watched movies with the family. Like, I just don't, unless it's a real story. Like, I don't want to watch fake stuff. I don't have that space in my mind to watch somebody. Like, when I turn a movie on, I see the acting, not the plot, unless it's a real story and a positive story. So I'm not saying you've got to do that. I'm just saying, like, these things all are a piece of the puzzle, because the brain only has so much bandwidth a day. So if you're giving it the wrong things, the bandwidth is being used up on the wrong things. And it also ties into your energy. People don't join your knowledge. They join your energy. And everybody that I just identified, they change the atmosphere of a room when they walk in it, meaning that the energy level of that room is going to rise as they become a part of it. And we all know those people that walk into a room and the opposite effect occurs. And some of them think they're positive people. And then the second thing you got to do, not only is you got to protect your mind, you got to grow it daily. So Elon Musk put an X tweet out a little while back that said, hiring engineers, no college degree necessary. And then he followed that up by, and all 4 of my kids have college degrees. So, like, I'm pro college. So again, don't take me out of context, but he says college is overrated. Most smart people don't need it. There is a multi-billion-dollar education now on social media, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. So program your TikToks, program your Instagram stories, program your YouTube, that when you turn that on, you get positive things in your brain. And again, I'm not throwing my religion on anybody by any stretch, but I believe what I believe, and I don't hide it. I can't do this without Jesus. Like this business and the people business is freaking stupid hard. Everybody's different. Everybody's got an opinion. Most people's opinions are correct in their own perspective. It's not about who's right or wrong ever. It's about whatever the issue is, solve it, move forward, and let's grow. So like, until you understand that in the people business, you're always going to plateau. You cannot pick sides here. And then you've also got to identify people that give you energy and people that steal your energy. So Kim Gray and I had that conversation yesterday, and she's now, I've been like, these kind of things I would say to her early on, and she thought I had lost my mind. She was like, what are you talking about? And now then she calls me and she's experiencing all the same things. So she's now learning who to give her time to and who to protect her energy from. Because if you give it to the wrong people, they will drain you, and your business will reflect it, because your business is going to go backwards. And again, some people think they're really positive and they're not, and they don't understand why you're not necessarily talking to them all the time. And that energy is reflective. So if you go look at these earners' Facebook pages, like when you get on them, you'll feel their energy. They're not posting stupid stuff. They're not bringing up negative topics. Like, they're showing the positivity of life. Okay. And now then the lesson of the day. And that is make your leaders money. Now, everybody, there's a lot of people that have been invited onto this call now that you're still trying to stabilize your own paycheck. And that's the danger of this, because like, I'm not going to change the subject matter because of where you are in your business. Just understand that. So if you're here and you're not even optimizing 2 legs yet, this is probably not for you just yet. But you'll at least be learning it. So don't get off track here if you're in that stage. All right. So let me tell you what we do. And the company is aligned with this. Finally, I kept sharing with them, and they finally this year launched what I've been saying for years. Like, you got to create senior officers in your business. So let me give you the math real quick. And if you're new, I do not have time to explain the pay plan. But here's the math. For a senior officer in a leg, they must have 13,334 weekly on 2 legs. That's 26,000 in volume. So when people text me and say, how many people do I need in a leg to optimize every week? Or like all the million questions you can get asked. Well, it's a very random question. I've seen Susan Cameron and Susan Frank optimize a leg with 9 new ultimates. I've seen others that suck at selling 30 packs, and it takes them a lot more. And I've seen others that have 300 people in their business and no leadership and no skill set, no in-person meetings, and 300 people are just really dead in there. So like, there is no number. So I don't even look at it that way. What I'm looking at is I need at least 1 senior officer per leg. So I have to identify through. So let's just start at the beginning. When I'm building a new leg, I must work and be patient with whoever shows up. That's the hardest part of this business as you begin to elevate your own self, because you've always got to come back down to the brand new person and be patient. And you can't just make anybody a senior officer. You've got to find the right one. So I will just tell you, when I started a brand new leg, signed up the guy Bulldozer Milan that led me to Robin. Robin started selling, led me to, and some of these are on the call today, so don't get offended when I don't call your name. It's just facts. And this is how I'm teaching you how to get big. So then all of these girls start signing up. I start meeting them all. I start evaluating their talent, and they were all really good, but none of them were committed. They just weren't. They had kids. They wouldn't show up at meetings. I saw what they brought to the table, and I saw what they were not willing to bring to the table, until Reese Antley showed up. And when Reese Antley showed up, he was the stabilization of Ashley Antley. And I say this, Ashley Antley has pixie dust, but she also has a lot of life that goes on all the time that pulls her energy. Reese is somehow freaking able to manage it and show up daily, and I don't even know anything's going on in his life. So when I found Reese, I was like, bingo, this guy's going to be a senior officer in this leg. And he and I have become best friends. It naturally happens when you identify those people. You work with them all the time. You identify their skill sets. It just so happens Reese is really, really good at everything. I always joke with him that it's not fair that he's good at sports and good at music, and he's good at he's analytical and he can cast vision. Like most people are generally one of the other. And Ashley's bad at me. I see that. You got a good one, Ashley Antley. You got lucky, but you're a good one too. Y'all compliment each other very, very well. But anyway, so now we move into like the subject matter. So I know Reese's business. I know his leaders. I have a lot more flexibility than he does to be with him in person. So like he will tell you, I was just in Rome, Georgia on his pay leg. I drove to Birmingham, Alabama for one person for his pay leg. Krista Williams is his best person in his pay leg. She's freaking unbelievable, presenting with people, with skill set, with positive energy. She's crazy good. So I'm constantly working with Krista, trying to elevate her. And then I'm constantly trying to, and then my brain goes to Krista, like, how do I get Krista stabilized? Because I need Reese to be senior officer in that leg. Reese needs Krista to be senior officer in that leg. So although Reese may not understand that fully yet, I do. So like the person under Reese I'm working with is Krista. Like I know her leaders in her legs. I know Jody and Roger and all the ones on one leg. And I know Jennifer Braden and all the ones on the other leg. And actually, I think Jennifer's in that other leg. But I know both sides of her business. I know the leaders she has there and the lack of leaders she has in the pay leg right now. And so like you're identifying that. and you're trying to find, because remember, you have the best skill set. You guys do, not them. Like, these people are up and coming. So like, you've got to go help them stabilize that, because, so in my mind, from a selfish standpoint, if I can get Reese full time, it takes a lot of pressure off of me. Now, I'm never going to tell him to quit his job. He'll tell you I actually advised him against it until the right time. But that's always, if I can get him into a full-time living and he's out here full-time, well, that's meetings I don't have to go and do anymore, because he's going to be better at it than I am. So that's what you're identifying at all times. So every new person, we want them to get to senior officer optimizing 2 legs weekly. Any leader that comes in or good recruiter, I love them to start with 3 legs. The reason I evaluated this for years. I'm a proponent of making other people money. So for the first few years I was in this pay plan, I would get people 2 really stable legs before I would let them start a 3rd leg, or let's the wrong word. I just advise. Everybody owns their own business, can do what they want to do. But I watched some good leaders. Kim Gray was probably the one that helped me really get a better understanding. But when those legs would flip on Kim Gray, she would just go into panic mode. She would call me. She would text Ken Bailey, my legs would flip, and she would move her energy. So her energy weekly was only on her pay leg. She wasn't grown up yet in the business. She was just trying to make a paycheck. So when those legs kept flipping back and forth and her energy kept moving back and forth, I came to the realization she's never going to have 2 strong legs, because she don't work with her people when she's not getting paid that next week. So that's when I decided, listen, we've got to get Kim Gray a 3rd leg growing. That way she's always got 2 paying her. There's no flipping going on. And so the way I want you to understand it, if you don't yet, and the way you've got to teach it, is to make $250,000 a year, you need 2 optimizing legs weekly. So if you have 1 runaway leg, 1 down, 1 to go, good for you. Do not abandon it, because if you do, by the time you get the other one optimizing, that one won't be anymore. You got to work with them both. This is the time that you have to put into it, that 3 to 5 year span that Chris mentioned. And then when you get 2 legs, I generally say 5,000 to 7,000 weekly for like 6 weeks in a row. That would identify that you've got enough leadership in there that if you work with it, you can probably drive those on now to 13,334 without your own personal sponsoring. And now you start the 3rd leg. If you're a leader or a good recruiter, start 3 legs on day 1. And it slows down the stabilization a little bit, but it creates a little bit more consistency over time of the paychecks. And you have a little bit less risk of hitting, multiple leaders in the same leg. Got it spread out just a little bit. I would not do 4 unless you're a magical recruiter, because I just wouldn't. But you can. I'm not your boss. But when it's 3 legs, you're doing 5,000 to 7,000 a week. Then the 4th leg starts, and then so forth into time. You can do the reentries. We will cover that on another day. I don't like them. I do use them periodically, very sparingly, very, very sparingly, because I got really burned. If I had just gone wide, my paychecks right now would probably be, or Ashley and I's paychecks right now would probably be about 30,000 a week. I have several big optimizing legs, and some of them based upon recruits I gave away into income positions with people. So I got really, really burned, and I don't want anybody else to get burned that way. And then the top earner of Europe, same exact thing. His name is Paulo, and Tim Sells is the one that taught both of us the income reentries. And he and I both did what Tim taught us. And we both probably are missing about 15,000 a week in income right now. So Paulo in Europe is the same as me. We go wide. It trumps everything. That doesn't mean there's not a time to use one. There is, but we'll train that on a different day. It's very special occasion, and it has to have 2 really committed people that are not selfish, because if you work, you can't do it with somebody that's selfish. It'll screw you 100% of the time. So they have to be really, really committed over time to make those things work. So we're not going to go there today. So let me unshare my screen. Ken Bailey, are you with us? I think he is.
I don't see him.
Okay. All right. So I'll just, and anybody wants to chime in, can. If anybody wants to add anything or ask a question, because we've got about 7, 8, 9 minutes left, I'll just say this in conclusion to recap the day. You've got to be a visionary, and you've got to cast vision. If you're an analytical person, your information is not going to grow your business. It is hyper important. There is a time to educate and train, but but that's 1 day a week. The other 6 days a week, you're casting vision. Number two, you have to grow yourself. Your business will find your level of ability to deal with people, and personalities and issues and gossip and all the crap that goes on in the people business. And this has nothing to do with network marketing. It's in churches, it's in organizations, it's everywhere. Elevate yourself above it. Do not join it. I don't pick sides. I like everybody equally. I fix the problem and move forward. And it's all you can do. And like I said, most of the time, the one thing that I finally figured out a decade into this was most of the time when there's issues going on, both parties are right from the perspective they're looking at it. So like my job is not to decide who's right or wrong. My job is to fix the issue we're dealing with and get to the next day and let's move forward and build everybody a business. So do not join gossip. Grow your mind and protect it. Both are important. Don't be watching stupid stuff that puts wrong things in your head. Don't be listening to stupid stuff. Elevate. Talk to Jesus. You can never let ego get involved. I pray for that every day. Like I know I've lost a $250,000 income before. I know this can go away tomorrow. I know that we have favor. Like I give all the credit away. Like I know the skill set it takes, but I also know that it can disappear tomorrow, that I'm no different than anybody else on planet Earth. Just because I've made more money than some people does not make me any better than anybody. Like you've got to keep all that in perspective. This is all this is a business. I mean, it's just really little. What is important though is developing the ability to help other people change their life. That's how you get to the big money. Like once you get your needs met, if you want to elevate your income, you must develop a skill set of speaking into other people's lives, casting vision, helping them to elevate their brain, helping them not to gossip, helping them to fix situations, not pick sides in situations, and all the different things that our business requires. And then the last piece of the puzzle is, for those of you that are ready for this, everybody on this call is not. Some of you are still trying to get Senior Officer Weekly yourself. But like the Kim Grays that's optimizing 3 legs, and the Susan Cameron and Susan Frank that's optimized as many as 5, Kristen Joni's optimized as many as 5. Ken Bailey, obviously Chris Dole optimized multiple lines weekly. I think Ken Bailey's paychecks are $15,000-$18,000 a week now. They've elevated their skill set and they've elevated their positive. Like I've watched all of those people grow through the years. So anyway, that being said, anybody want to add anything or ask any questions as we conclude?
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, I think Ken's on an IT conference call. You called on.
Okay.
Yeah,
just perfect. Perfect. We had some, Reese, you got to hop over there too if you're not there yet. You got to fix that Canadian stuff.
I got you. We're working on it.
See, I was on the IT panel last year, and I suck at it. I just know all the issues. So, second, Ken Bailey and Reese came along, I removed myself from that time constraint and that headache. That's how you find people that are better at it, and you give it over, because like you can't do everything. The number one thing I tell people is like you can't be everything to everybody. So if you're going to get to the big money, you're the vision caster. You're the one speaking life into people. You're the one that are elevating belief systems. That's where the real money lies. Anybody else want to add anything or ask anything? And listen, and I know you're coming over from 18 years or 20 years in the industry. Bob Budd, like he's his own man, his own leader. Like there's so many of you I have so much respect for. And like anything I ever say, don't ever change anything you're doing just because I say it. All I'm doing is giving hopefully words of wisdom that you can find the nuggets you need. I just appreciate all of you being here, and anything that I can ever do to help any of you individually, let me know. And we've got this thing kind of all sketched out now. It's going to be about it's either going to be 8 or 12-week course, but when it is completed, you're going to have this whole picture, and all these are going to be put on YouTube too. And I do not mind. I told Sarah she can just put them on our normal YouTube channel. But like I said, don't be sharing this with a brand new person. I don't think it'll get any value from it. We can do other things for them on other channels, but it will be there for your own viewing. And if you do want to share it with other leaders. And again, anybody that has subject matter they want to participate in sharing, as long as you've made like $50,000 a month or more, because this calls are not about making 20,000 a month. It's about making the big money. You're welcome to let me know ahead of time. I'll bring that in because I don't have all the ideals and answers. I promise I don't. And the more we can collaborate on that, the faster we're all going to move. But everybody have a super, super duper blessed day. And I'm in Las Vegas, but I have about 10 Zooms in a row. So I'm going to get no free time today.